Hello. Last time you saw me, I had 4 more teeth in my mouth. I had to get my wisdom teeth removed. So that was fun. But I'm feeling better. I'm still very aware of what's going on in there, but I feel better. So I thought I have collected an unnecessary amount of thrifted classic books, and I wanted to share those with you. I've got stuff into the 20th century, going back to about the 18th century, I think, is the oldest. Mid-18th century. So yeah, we've got a range. Most of the classics I read are stuff either you read in school, or I have been rereading and reading all of Jane Austen's books this year, so those are the oldest I've dabbled in. So I wanted to get some of her contemporaries, some of the people she was inspired by, and then I just needed a couple of like 20th century classics as well. So let's get into it. We'll go super basic. 1984, George Orwell. I did thrift this, even though this is like a brand new edition. It was cheaper that way. I just liked it. Isn't that a fun cover? 75th anniversary. And I am going to be reading it for a book club, I think in the fall. So I wanted to grab it while I was thinking about it. I'm looking forward to it. I think I might have read it in school, but that doesn't count. Honestly, doesn't count. Let's just get all the 20th centuries out of the way. I have The Hobbit by, how do you say his name? Tolkien? Don't know, but I really like this cover. Isn't it fun? I almost got one that had a dragon on it, but I just thought this was so pretty. It's a very pretty edition. I think I understand that you read this first and then the Lord of the Rings. So yeah, and it has some illustrations in it. I'm looking forward to it. And then I read my first Steinbeck book in January. It was Travels with Charlie in Search of America. And I already own East of Eden, which I have not read yet. But I did not own The Grapes of Wrath and Of Mice and Men. But yeah, also fun. Look, it originally sold for $2. I want to get into my Steinbecks, and I think I'll probably read Of Mice and Men first, and then go Grapes of Wrath, and then East of Eden. I've seen some people suggest that order, just because it keeps getting better, apparently. I kind of believe it. He's kind of incredible, actually. The Grapes of Wrath is, I think about, is it the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma? So I feel like I should probably, I'm surprised I didn't read that in school in Oklahoma history. It's relevant to my place of origin. And then Of Mice and Men, I actually don't know anything about it other than I think it's pretty tragic. So, but it is short, so I can knock that out really fast. Okay, next we're gonna go 19th century. If I get the dates wrong on these, sorry. There's a lot of them. I'll start with Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. I don't know, but here's the edition I got. Okay, so it follows Molly Gibson. As she grows up and falls in love, she learns to judge people for what they are, not what they seem. Through her observations, the hierarchies, social values, and social changes of early 19th century English life are made vivid in a novel that is timeless in its representation of human relationships. Am I wrong to think that she wrote North and South? North and South, okay. I haven't read North and South. That's actually kind of like higher priority for me, because I did watch the BBC miniseries. It was so good, and it's like if you've read the Jane Austens and you need something kind of similar, I would maybe pick up North and South. I haven't read it, but just from what I've seen, I would pick that up because it's a few decades later and it's a bit more, it's a little darker, and it touches more on like industry and class, and I know that one's about cotton mills and stuff and its effects on the working class. But yeah, I guess while we're talking about it, I did pick up Jane Austen's, are these her juvenilia or just unfinished, whatever they are, Lady Susan, The Watsons, and Sanditon. They're just 3 works that I guess she never finished. So yeah, I do know, I think Lady Susan and Sanditon have shows. Yeah, so this is the one I got. I will be, after I finish Persuasion, which I think I'm reading in the fall, I'll end off my Jane Austen 250th anniversary reading marathon. I don't know what to call it. And I'll pick these up. It's really too bad we don't have more of her works. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I'm finished. And then the Letters of Vincent van Gogh. It's just his letters. I think they're mostly written to his brother. And yeah, I was just looking forward to it. I did get a degree in art, so I'm interested. I want to see what he's got in here. And there are some of his sketches, and I think it is pretty sad, which should shock no one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like I don't know enough about him other than that one episode of Doctor Who. You know the one. Next up, I have Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. It is mid-19th century, and it is, I think, going to possibly satisfy a craving. I don't know the right word, but I finished reading Emma by Jane Austen, and I was like, wow. It's up there for me for her works. I just loved it. It was so witty and just so on the nose, as she always is, and I loved the huge kind of cast of characters in the village, and Emma's not the perfect main lead role, and yeah, so I kind of think this might be kind of same vibes. Follows the adventures of Becky and Amelia as their fortunes rise and fall. Mercilessly skewers his society, especially the upper class, poking fun at their shallow values and pointedly jabbing at their hypocritical morals. He has an unerring eye for the absurd and a genius for observation of the foibles of his age. So it just kind of sounded like it might have similar wit to Jane Austen. I could be totally wrong, but I think I'll really like it. Is it nearly 900 pages? Yes. Do I have the time for this right now? No. But I really want to read it. I think I'll have a lot of fun. And now we're gonna jump back to the 18th century, and while we still have Jane Austen on the mind, Frances Burney, Fanny Burney, however you would like to call her. I think from what I've read, Jane Austen read and was inspired by her works. I think most notably Cecilia, because that is where she got the idea of Pride and Prejudice. Cecilia is an heiress and an orphan. Elegant in form and liberal of heart, she enters her 21st year with every advantage but no guiding hand. There is one condition attached to Cecilia's inheritance. If she marries, the man of her choice must take her name. She falls in love with the passionate aristocrat, and as so often happened, the course of true love fails to run smooth. The result of Pride and Prejudice refused to countenance the exchange of Cecilia's wealth with her betrothed, his family name. Published in 1782, her second novel, So yeah, I think Jane Austen took quite a bit of inspiration from it. Obviously, Pride and Prejudice is quoted in here, but I mean, look at that. Yeah, about 900 pages, though the formatting is not helping, but I look forward to it. I think I'll have quite a bit of fun. Yeah. And then the other Fanny Burney book I picked up is Evelina. Did I show you the covers? Is that one? I just want to show. I think they're all very fun. Let's see. Tells a story of a young girl fresh from the provinces whose initiation into the ways of the world is frequently painful, though it leads to self-discovery, moral growth, and finally, happiness. The novel reveals superbly the life and temper of 18th century England as seen through the curious eyes of its young heroine. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about it, but Evelina, I think it'll be fun. Sounds kind of like a coming of age. We'll see how it goes. I think I'll like both of them. One thing I do kind of like about, and why I'm trying to go a bit further back in time with my literature, is the language that's used. I've gotten very comfortable with like Jane Austen's language, the language of the 19th century. I pretty much understand most of it. Every once in a while there's a word or a phrase that I have to look up, but I thought I would take it a little bit further back, because let's see, I don't know, these might stump me a bit more. You know, it's like Shakespeare, obviously that's poetry and it's a very filtered language, but I cannot read Shakespeare for the life of me. So I just figured, let's keep going a little bit further back. When I get comfortable with these, let's take it even further back. Though I think that might be harder because while I was looking these up, I guess I had never really thought of it. The novel, as we know it, didn't really become a thing, I think, until the 18th century, maybe 17th century. But yeah, wasn't really quite stuff like this. Next, I have James Boswell's London Journals from 1762 to 1763, and they are his journals from his time in London during that time. A frank and artful record of his adventures, ranging from a vividly recounted affair with a Covent Garden actress to his first amusingly bruising meeting with Samuel Johnson, whose friend and biographer Boswell would later become. So yeah, it's just this dude's journals. I actually don't know anything about this guy. I don't know if I should. Maybe I should be looking that up before I go into it. Other than, I think some people say that he's like not like a good person, you know. Some people say he's maybe not the best guy. I think he's very witty is the nice way of putting it, but I look forward to it. A first-hand account of mid-18th century London sounds fun. So we have Tom Jones by Henry Fielding. Here it is. And it is one of the first and finest English comic novels. Tom Jones is a high-spirited hero and a foundling of mysterious origins. Tom's intrigues and picturesque adventures and how he pursues and wins the lovely and apparently unattainable Sophia Western are the ingredients of a gloriously elaborate plot. So yeah, I think it's just supposed to be really funny, blithe and racy humor. I don't know much about it. I was looking on like subreddits and stuff for recommendations and people said this was really funny. Also, have I shown you, like, these are no joke. I'm not afraid of a big book, but that's over 800 pages. So maybe I am afraid, I don't know. Next is The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy Gentleman by Lawrence Stern. Great masterpiece of body humor and rich satire, defies any attempt to categorize it. Part novel, part digression, its gloriously disordered narrative interweaves the birth and life of the unfortunate hero, Tristram Shandy. So, yeah, I think it's just another similar to the Tom Jones. It's, I think, mostly this Tristram guy and his father, his uncle, other characters. Yeah, from reading Emma, I kind of discovered I still prefer to have one main character, but I really like whenever we can branch off and let a big cast of characters bring something more to the story. Yeah, if you're interested in classics and you're not really sure, I don't know if these are the right ones to start with. I definitely didn't start with them, but I would recommend thrifting them, just because way less money. Most of these probably were about $5, some a little more, some a little less. And also, I just really enjoy like choosing what editions I can have instead of my entire bookshelf just being like the classic Penguin Black editions, which I still really enjoy. Obviously, I thrifted a couple of those, but I like having the choice and the options. But if I were to choose top priorities out of these, probably would be Vanity Fair and Cecilia. So just these two, cinder blocks of books. So we'll see. This Jane Austen with the 3 mini stories, I guess, is lightly annotated. It looks like someone maybe started highlighting stuff for a class and then gave up. So shout out to whoever that was. Yeah, I hope you're doing well.